I think the chapel does two things. I think it serves as a point for building community in Beaver Creek. Even in a resort community, people need to be together. The second thing it does is to bring people of distinctive faiths and all faiths together into one place. There's only one place to worship in Beaver Creek, and everyone knows where it is.
Well, the Beaver Creek Chapel was started 25 years ago by my predecessor, Pastor Don Simonton. He knew President Ford and John Galvin, Leonard Firestone, and Phil Smiley. And they were talking about the need to have some kind of a chapel, a spiritual center there in Beaver Creek.
I understand from the way this got started is that Jerry Ford said to John Galvin, "Hey, why don't we do here what we did in Vail? You raise the money and I'll help you."
I was told that when they first started building the chapel that the stonework, they only got halfway up and realized that they were going to go over budget on that. President Ford said we need to make some calls and raise some extra funds to stone the entire side so it'll look right. And he had a phone brought in, and 10 minutes after he had started making phone calls, they'd had enough funds to finish the rest of it. I hope that's a true story.
Urban legend also records that one of the donors said that they would give a lot of money if they could hear the bells ring from the spire of the church and see the bells from the window of the donor's home. And thus we have a beautiful tower in that Beaver Creek Chapel and bells that ring very regularly through the year.
The community of Beaver Creek cares so much about this chapel. They really take a personal interest and stake in its funding and in its maintenance. They really recognize it as a central community institution.
And it became the spiritual center, the hub of the Beaver Creek Resort area.
This is a very interesting experience. 6 different communities sharing the same space. Isn't it wonderful?
The opportunity to meet people from a lot of diverse backgrounds and literally around the world that come and find a place to worship there at that chapel while they're here.
This is a very special place, and it's mission territory. With all the visitors and kind of the recreational aspect of a resort area, sometimes it's hard to reach people because they're getting away from the ordinary. But the thing that amazes me is how many people use this chapel when they're here on vacation.
We've got a community church for the world that comes here from various states in the country, from around the world. Everybody's here, they are enjoying the beauty that God's given to us there, and we have a great time in worship.
It's so beautiful. I mean, as soon as you get out of your car, getting up there, you smell the fresh air of Beaver Creek.
Your vision goes straight to the back windows, which opens up into the stand of trees, which has the Balm of Gilead trees, aspens, and the fall. It's absolutely stunning. The windows along, as you're entering the left-hand side, look out to the side of the mountain. In the summer with the windows open, you can hear the creek rushing down. It really can be a breathtaking place.
All the artwork, the ironwork, the leaves that are on the doors, the pulpit, inside the chandeliers are all designed with that Balm of Gilead leaf and branches. Just gives the church its own unique character.
Each one of our congregations has some religious sacral items that we put up. So we put up our Star of David. There's a cross as well, and they're beautifully crafted with wood and metal, and it's just exquisite being part of it.
It's a very wonderful setting, regardless of your faith background.
Do several weddings throughout the year. It's a wonderful place for people to come out of town and have their weddings there. Of course, it's a gorgeous facility.
Because they've been to Beaver Creek skiing or whatever, and the bride, even as a little girl, says, this is where I'm going to get married.
Every once in a while, we're in that chapel, and a couple will come walk in through the back door very quietly. I know that when that happens, they had a special event there and they're coming back.
This past summer, we started doing baptisms down in the creek. Congregation will gather on the bridge, and the couple or whoever's being baptized will go down to the creek and have the baptism there where family and friends can watch and participate.
I think almost every sacred music event of the year happens at that chapel. We have the longtime fundraiser for Salvation Army with Pat Hamilton and Peter Varvra. Happens every Christmas. It's a Christmas tradition. We've had Bravo for many years in that chapel. We have the Sacred Sounds helping St. Clair's. Our own young people grown up in that chapel and through the valley, coming back to share their talents, voice, and music. Our fundraiser every year, many years, has been inside the chapel for the Beaver Creek Chapel. It's a place where people can gather and relax and be touched by what they see and what they hear.
We will on a regular basis have wildlife come and visit us. Once is standing with many people who have just showing up for the service where we had to shut the doors because there was a bear right there on the porch, 5 feet from us, looking in the window at us and calling Beaver Creek Security to come and relocate the bear. Several summers ago, we had a small family of porcupines that throughout the summer we saw them multiple times and would waddle onto the front porch while people were arriving for the services. And it's when you're doing a service, it's hard to compete with a really fat porcupine and a big bear.
Family that prays together stays together. And I couldn't help but think that that has an application here in the sense that a community that prays together also stays together. It is a little bit unique among religious faiths to all be practicing in the same facility. That has added to bringing people together to share their prayer life as they share their recreational life.
My first Christmas with serving over 500 people and President and Mrs. Ford and their entire family. The many Christmases, the Easters, the weddings, which everybody talks about, but the funerals, the memorial services, for Mrs. Ford, for Jimmy Huga, for the riverboat guide that drowned and had nowhere else to have a funeral, to bring hundreds and hundreds of people into that chapel at a critical moment of their lives. It's just been one of the biggest blessings of being a pastor in this valley.
I can't think of a prettier place in the world in terms of chapels, and both the inside and the outside and the location in picturesque Beaver Creek is really spectacular.
It's a very, very special place and very beautiful.
I don't know what we'd do without this chapel, to be honest with you.
Some of my fondest memories of pastoring over 16 years in this valley have happened in that chapel.
Everybody is always glad they come to a service at the Beaver Creek Chapel.
They gather literally from around the world to come there for worship. That's what makes that place special.
So I just want to send a thank you for the people that had the vision to build this facility, because it's been a complete blessing.